Hey everybody, just real quick, I had some thoughts that were chasing around in my head this morning that I wanted to share. And the main thought is, what is the cost of thinking positively? Kind of a weird way to think about it. We tend to think of the cost of maybe thinking negatively and the benefit of thinking positively. Um, but I just want to kind of get out of that normal mode of thinking and kind of stretch a little bit and maybe question some things that we've always thought and expand our thinking a little bit. So I like this idea of the cost of thinking positive, and I like the idea of a cost benefit ratio. In medicine, a lot of what we do is based on what are the costs of using this kind of medicine and that kind of medicine, and what is the benefit of that, and making decisions based on on that ratio and on the difference between the two. So what is the cost of thinking positively? We tend to think that we need to think on the negative side, that somehow thinking negatively about things is going to preempt negative emotions or negative events from happening in our lives. Is that really true? I think we hold it as true, but I think most of us would agree that once we start to really think about that, we recognize that it really isn't true. We don't head anything off by being negative about that. And all it does is it puts us in a state of stress, in a state of the emotion, anxiety. It puts us in a state of defensiveness. Any number of negative things that you can delineate and point out. So what's the problem with that? Well, how many of us really want to spend our lives, our days, being in these negative states all the time? I don't think any of us want to do that. Most of us end up doing that just because we don't know a better way, and we don't know that there's a different way to do things, that there's a better way to do things. So when I ask what is the cost of being positive, is there any cost to it? Really, what is the downside of that? I've heard people say, well, you're just then setting yourself up for disappointment. Is that true? We throw out these things that we've heard our whole lives, but how often do we really stop and think about those things? We accept a lot of things in our lives and in the society, in the world that we live in, as true, without ever really questioning them. So do we really set ourselves up for failure by thinking positive? That makes no sense to me. I'm a believer that the universe conspires in our favor. I'm a believer in when you put positive energy out into the world, that positive energy comes back to you. And there's a whole other discussion about failure that I just will touch briefly on. Why are we so afraid of failure? The only time, how often have you heard the only time you fail is when you stop trying? That's how we learn. We things don't work out the way that we thought or hoped or planned, and you try again and you do it again and you do it again until you get the result that you want. There's nothing wrong with failure. There's nothing wrong with being given those opportunities to learn. So I don't look at failure as a negative thing at all. again, yeah, separate story, yeah, separate, yeah, tangent, separate discussion, so I won't say anything more, yeah, about that. But we don't set ourselves up, for negative things when we're positive. The only way we set ourselves up for negative things is with negative thoughts. So to me, I haven't found that there is a cost, to being positive. There's only benefits. There's only, a positive mindset. There's only a greater feeling of peace and contentment, of, satisfaction, of joy. Even there's a greater sense of being in control of your lives, not at the mercy of whatever's, going on, in your life. So I just real quickly wanted to share that thought, and maybe get you thinking, in your own life. Is there any way that I can employ this cost benefit, ratio, to my life, and look at the ways that I'm being, positive, putting that positive energy out there, and seeking for, betterment? Or more particularly, what are the ways that I'm being negative and thereby holding myself back, from those things? Anyway, just a quick thought I wanted to share with you guys. You guys take care. Again, we'll be posting a lot more, on here. Just sharing the thoughts, that I had and have, just to try and, maybe help, somebody, as we get you to start questioning, your thoughts, and examining, your thoughts, and seeking for and realizing that there is, a better way. Take care, you guys. We'll talk to you tomorrow.